Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Bronx Music Heritage Center. My name is Elena Martinez, and I'm one of the artistic directors here, along with Bobby Sanabria, the other artistic director, who you'll get to meet very shortly. So tonight, before we start our program, I just want to give a shout out to our funders. The Bronx Music Heritage Center programming is supported in part by the National Endowment for the Arts, the New York State Council on the Arts with the support of the New York State Legislature, public fund from the New York State Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council, the Lily Auchincloss Foundation, and the Laurie M. Tisch Illumination Fund. So tonight we have an incredible program of incredible music for you. It will kind of cleanse your palate. If you sat through that horrible Grammy show this past weekend, tonight you'll get a chance to see some incredible real music and get a chance to enjoy music with a variety of percussionists. We're going to be featuring percussionists and drummers from the Garifuna community. The Garifuna community has its roots in Belize, Honduras, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. But the largest community outside of Central America lives here in the Bronx. And actually tonight, over half the drummers you're going to see performing tonight reside in our fair borough of the Bronx. So we'll get to hear from them shortly. But also tonight, our percussion discussion, this month's percussion discussion, is in honor of Garifuna Heritage Month, which started a couple days ago. The Garifuna Heritage Month is from March 11th to April 12th. And it's significant because March 11th is the 224th anniversary of the deportation of the Garifuna people by the British from St. Vincent and the Grenadines to Central America. And March 14th is the National Hero Day in St. Vincent and the Grenadines of the Garifuna chief Joseph Chatoyer on March 14th. And then the month ends on April 12th in commemoration of the 224th anniversary of the Garifuna settlement in Roatan, Honduras. So for the next month, we are celebrating all things Garifuna. We'll be having more programming. But tonight, for this percussion discussion, it's a special one curated by a great friend of ours, James Lovell. James Lovell is a multi-instrumentalist, a vocalist, a songwriter, an educator. And we have been very lucky. We've worked with James on many different programs. He was the musical director for our Paranda con Paranda programs many years. But sadly, he moved away. He's moved away down south to Virginia. So we don't get a chance to see him in person and work with him a lot. But I must say, one of the benefits, I guess, of living in this virtual world this past year, even though it's been a hard year, one of the benefits of a virtual world is that we're able to connect with people who are far away. So this is giving us a chance to work with James on this program. So before I introduce our hosts tonight, both our hosts, and welcome them on screen, everyone who's watching on Facebook, you're going to have a chance to ask questions directly to the drummers, James Lovell himself. Put any questions in the Facebook comments section, and we'll make sure that they get a chance to answer your questions. So please welcome Bobby Sanabria and James Lovell.
All right. Hopefully everybody could hear me. I think I'm unmuted. Once again, I'll say it again, just in case you didn't hear me. My name is Bobby Sanabria, the co-artistic director, along with Elena Martinez of the Bronx Music Heritage Center, the place to be, the BMHC, where we celebrate all things Bronx. And particularly when we celebrate the Bronx, we always celebrate the Bronx as the place where rhythm lives, where the drum lives. The Bronx is the borough of music. The Bronx is the borough of the drum. So tonight on Percussion Discussion, I'm honored to present to you, as Elena Martinez said, the great James Lovell, who is one of the ambassadors of the Garifuna community, probably the greatest ambassador of the Garifuna community, not only here in New York City, but across the United States. James, welcome tonight to the Percussion Discussion on the BMHC.
Yes. Welcome, Bobby. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, welcome back to BMHC.
Fantastic. James, the language that you speak, Elena talked about a little bit about the background of the Garifuna people. I'd like for you to say a few things in your native language and talk a little bit about the roots of that language, which I believe the United Nations has named it a language to definitely be preserved throughout the world. Tell us a little bit about, say something in Garifuna for us, and then tell us a little bit about what the Garifuna language comes from.
Okay. Owen Nugunda, Luna Chiluri Yahon Lugara la Narufu Dogunungwa Casey Aba Garifuna. What I just said, I'm happy to be here to show my culture and to show my language, which is Garifuna. And to answer your question, Bobby, the Garifuna is a language that is Arawakan based, and it's also Caribbean based. The indigenous inhabitants of the Caribbean and South America, they intermingled the Arawak and the Caribs, they intermingled and they formed a bicultural society. And it was when the African from West Africa, under the leadership of Abu Bakari from the Mali Empire, they came and intermingled with these two cultures, the Carib and the Arawaks, who intermingled and formed the Garifuna in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, known as Yurume.
Fantastic. Now, so I guess we could say that if somebody wanted to get a taste of what the original Arawak language sounded like, they'd have to directly come to anybody from the Garifuna community. Would you say that?
Not necessarily, because we were an offspring from them. So okay. So it's just a language, the remnants of the language from the Arawak and the Carib that we are accustomed to, or that we are using today. Fantastic. So as a matter of fact, to make that more precise, the men in the Garifuna culture, we speak slightly different from how the women speak. Wow. Example of that, if a mother will tell her son or her daughter, come here, for her to say, come here, she will say, higabunu. That's what the woman or the mother will say. And the father will say, ahu ye. And it still means come here. So wow. The child will distinguish the two.
Wow, fantastic! So it's almost like two languages.
Basically, yeah. But it comes together. It's synchronized into one, and then it's understood.
Now, tell us a little bit about this history that Elena mentioned with Saint Vincent.
Okay,
I find it fascinating.
Okay, like I said, in the early 1300s, this is pre-Columbian time. The empire of Mali, Mansa Musa, his brother Abu Bakari came and ventured into this new world they call America, and they landed in the Caribbean. Okay, when they landed in the Caribbean, they came across the two cultures that I was talking about in St. Vincent, the Kalinago, which is their right name that they call themselves, and the Lokono. So I want to be correct. I said Carib and Arawak earlier, but the true name that they call themselves is the Lokono and Kalinago. These two cultures, they were living in a bicultural society in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is also Yurume, okay, in Garifuna. So when the Africans from Mali or from West Africa came, they intermingled with these two cultures, and the offspring are called Garifuna. So there in Garifuna, the Garifuna lived, that was their homeland. They were intermingling, like I said, with the Lokono and the Kalinago and all of the Caribbean. As a matter of fact, I want to spread it to the whole region where these Aboriginal inhabitants were living, and they inhabited all of the Caribbean. So when Columbus came, he met these people, and he accidentally or erroneously called them Indians because he was looking for the East, but they were not. But up to this day, they're given that wrong name. And they also try to call my people, or the Garinagu people, Black Caribs, but we thought that was a derogatory name because we're not Black Caribs, we're Garifuna. That's the name that we gave ourselves. So we stayed and we lived on St. Vincent. The British came, the European came, and they start encroaching on the lands of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, on all parts of the Caribbean. They start colonizing the whole world. Well, you know what the European did. They colonized the whole world, and that's what they tried to do in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But we had a strong hold St. Vincent had a strong Garifuna presence where our leader, Joseph Chatouillet, paramount chief, he was able to organize his people where they were able to defend their freedom. So up to this day, St. Vincent and the Grenadines was the last island in the Caribbean to be colonized by the European. So
Wow.
they were never actually enslaved like how the other islands were enslaved early on. I don't remember the exact date when they were when they were colonized, but prior to that, the Garifuna were free. They were never enslaved. Okay, so what happened in 1797, March 11th, they were exiled. The Garinagu people were exiled from St. Vincent and the Grenadines off the island of Baliso. So today, as I'm speaking, my ancestors are on 11 British ships sailing to destination unknown because they didn't know that they were being taken to Roatan, Honduras. Okay, so when they landed in Honduras, there were other conflicts there, but to cut this short, I want to say that some of my ancestors, they relocated to Guatemala, Nicaragua, and Belize. So they landed in Roatan, and then they inhabited the other countries, and from there they migrated to the United States. So there are Garinagu people in New York, where there's the majority of the Garinagu people, even more than where it is in Honduras and Guatemala and Belize. And they're also in California, they're in Texas, they're major cities in this United States. But today, as a matter of fact, we're also celebrating the Garifuna Heritage Month, which was organized and orchestrated by Jose Francisco Avila of the Garifuna Coalition in New York. Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating. So you're basically, all of you are trilingual. You speak English, you speak Spanish, and you speak Garifuna. And it's amazing to me how this language has survived, has thrived, and the culture has survived and thrived. Elena made me aware of it years ago when she took me to a concert at Hostos Community College in the South Bronx. And I got to experience the power of Garifuna music and the power of Garifuna drumming in full force. And I saw and heard so many similarities with the barrel drums that we use in the bomba tradition from Puerto Rico. So as we've always said in Spanish, in the Caribbean, el tambor llama, so the drum always calls to all of us.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the types of drums that you use. You've used drums of various sizes. Maybe you can, with Alex and Myles on the screen, maybe you can talk a little bit about each drum and their function within the music.
Okay, very good. All right. In the Garifuna culture, with our music, the instrument that we use mostly in our music is the drums. Okay, we only have three sets of drums, which is the Primero. The Primero is the first drum, and that is a small drum that is the lead drum. And if Alex can demonstrate, that's what he has there. That's the Primero drum. The Primero drum is very small, and because it's small, it has a high pitch. The drummer who is playing the drum, he's playing in a prolific manner. He's playing fast and polyphonic way, in a polyphonic way. He's playing fast, and a lot of notes that he's put together in one, syncing at the same time. Awesome. And the second drum that we use is called the Segunda. Okay, and that's right. And Myles has just touched the Segunda. The Segunda is the bigger drum, and it has a heavier sound, a heavier pitch. And what the Segunda drummer does, he holds the pace. He holds the beat of the drum, of the music. So the Segunda has a very, very important role, because if it slows down, then everything goes slow. If he speed up, then everything goes fast. But the drummer, the Primero drummer, what he does to distinguish from the Segundo, he will play fast, and he will also follow the footstep and whatever move the dancer is doing. So actually, the dancer will control the primero drum. If the dancer break, the drum will break. If the dancer is shuffling his or her feet and dancing in a however she or he wants, then the drum will have to duplicate or replicate that.
Fantastic. Very similar to the bomba tradition that we have
Yeah.
in Afro-Puerto Rican music. The dancer is the leader. And
Yes.
in your case, the primero, or what we would call in Puerto Rican bomba, the primo,
The primo.
or subidor, that drum would follow the dancer. Now, do you use other instruments like a maraca or
Yes.
any other? Yeah.
Yes, we use we call the maracas in Garifuna sisira. Okay, sisira. The maracas is the shaker or that we use, and that also we consider that a percussive instrument and is used in a secular manner, but we also use it in a sacred manner where we pay homage to our ancestors when we're doing our spirituality, and that's where the chief priest or the priestess would have the lead drum, the lead maracas, which we call maraga.
Wow.
It's basically a little twist to maracas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Fantastic.
And we also have as percussion instrument, the turtle shell.
Mhm.
That was incorporated into the Garifuna music, percussion music by one of my favorite artists, Garifuna artists. His name is Pen Cayetano. He was the one he was the creative genius who came up with the turtle shell to add that as a percussion instrument with his band, Pen Cayetano and the Turtle Shell Band in the early 1980s.
So these turtle shells, they're struck with sticks, like a mallet.
Yeah. We use mallet, and sometimes it's covered with tapes. You tape the end of the mallet so that it can have the distinct sound, and then every crack, what the percussionists do, the turtle shell player, what he does is look for the different sound in the crack of the shell. And that's what he uses to give that variety.
So I could play melodies then.
Okay, just give it high pitch, high and low pitches. Yeah,
I got you. So I've also seen in performance sometimes people blowing through a conch shell. Is that part of the tradition as well?
We use that also. That has been a tradition. That has been a part of our tradition even before we incorporate that into our instrument, Garifuna instrument. It was used when the fishermen go out fishing in the Garifuna community, and then when they come in laden with fish, then for the people to know that there's fish to sell, they would just take that conch shell and start blowing, and people would just come out with their containers to go and buy fish in the seashore.
Fantastic. Now we've had a few little problems audio-wise, because with the percussion, but maybe we can get Alex and Myles, hopefully just to play each one of the instruments by themselves. If Alex and Myles could come on camera right now, real quick. Maybe Alex can play the primero, or is it primero or primera?
Alex, what we're gonna do here, Alex is gonna be playing the primero, the small drum, and Myles will be playing the segunda, which is the bigger drum. Okay, and the song, the rhythm that they will be playing, the first Garifuna genre that we will be playing from the Belize perspective is hugu hugu. Hugu hugu is a semi-sacred and semi-secular music genre where it is played in the Garifuna temple, which is called the Dabuyaba, and paying homage again, like I said, to our ancestors. And also it can also be played in a formal setting where, in the home, in the backyards of the homes, or in the living room of the homes, where you're celebrating with family and friends. We can play hugu hugu in a secular setting. So here we go. Take it, Brother Alex and Myles. Okay. Okay, Bobby.
Yes.
What you were hearing there, I think, you know, based on the connection and, you know, I was hoping that you can distinguish that it was a 6/8
Right.
or a compound time. It goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a compound time that is very solemn, and it like I said, it's used in a ritual, in a sacred setting, and it's also used in a formal setting.
Now I noticed that the rhythm also was slow. Is that the,
Yes.
Is it always supposed to be slow?
Yes, they can speed it up if they want to, because it's an individual feeling, especially with how it's played sometimes. But that pace right there is solemn. So we want to show that solemn sense in playing the hugu hugu, because that you don't play that as fast as other genre. Okay.
Right. Now, would you say is the rhythm in would it be play? Is it safe to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, would it be in homage to ancestors past?
Well, that is a rhythm that we use. Like when you're in the temple, when you're in the Dabuyaba temple, that's the rhythm that we will play throughout, unless after a certain part of the ceremony, we play other rhythms. But the majority of the time, where we get in contact with our ancestors, and then we're singing songs to appease them in time of need and in time of strife, you know, to get well. Somebody's sick in the family, you know, we pay homage, you know, we put down food, we play music, the maracas playing, singing, coming, dancing, and the chants and everything. That heals you. It's a healing process.
Right.
It has everything to do with healing, and it also has a lot to do with bringing families together. So it's like a Thanksgiving where everybody from different parts of the world, family comes and they join hands, and then the healing process begins.
Right.
So that's, go ahead.
Fantastic, fantastic. In the Garifuna culture, as we know in Afro-Cuban culture, there are several religious systems that exist. For example, the Ifa tradition, or what became known as Santeria in Cuba, and the Palo tradition, which is Santeria is Yoruba-based, Palo in Cuba is Bantu Congolese-based, Abakwa is Southern Nigerian Efik-based. Is there any type of religion that's practiced amongst the Garifuna that is African-based?
Most definitely. And that's basically what I was explaining when I mentioned our Dugu, okay? And if you notice, I say Dugu, but it almost sounds like voodoo from Haiti, with the voodoo from Haiti. And you're right. When it comes to South America with the Santeria, even Puerto Rico with Santeria, and Cuba, and then in Brazil with the Candomblé, okay? Ours is basically a drum-based rhythm, and it's called Dugu, D-U-G-U. And this is our spirituality. It's just like how, if you notice, and you notice, Bobby, where the people, our ancestors, and I'm talking about those living in Puerto Rico, those living in Cuba, and I'm gonna say those living in St. Vincent, you know, in that time, all these religion or spirituality were banned by the Europeans, okay? So what we did, you know, we tried to syncretize it to let it look more of a Christian way. You know, we call the names differently. We call saints, but then we have our own Orisha, we have our own and stuff like that. So we do the same, because many, many years ago, as a matter of fact, and it's affecting us today, where it was banned, and there are people in my culture, in the Garifuna culture, who because they have been Christianized, so to speak, they look at our traditional spirituality as evil worship or devil worship, and it is not so. So we're still having that being like a stigma, and hence the reason why there's a lot of my ancestors, a lot of my people today, my age, younger, or even older, who are not really versed or educated in our own spirituality. And it's something that we need to look at, because we have to see God or that higher omnipotent power in ourselves. We have to see it in ourselves. We can't see it outside of ourselves, because that's a detriment, and it's a way of hating yourself if you can't see yourself holistically and see yourself going outside of your culture.
Well said. I want to remind anybody who is viewing this right now, first of all, welcome. And second of all, please, if you have any questions, write them in the chat, and we will pass them on to our honored guest, Mr. Lavelle, and some of the other people that are here with him. James, introduce us to the great Bodoma and his son Gumai, who Bodoma is a legend in the Garifuna community, a master drummer. I've seen him perform many times, and always puts a smile on my face with his great mastery of rhythm and your incredible traditions. Tell us, introduce him, and also tell us a little. And Bodoma, you can tell us a little bit about yourself. First of all, I'd like to say that Alex Colon and Myles Petillo, correct me if I'm wrong, their roots are obviously Garifuna, but they're from Belize. In their origins. And
that's correct.
Bodoma and his son Gumai are from Honduras.
So, yes. So what I want to say about Bodoma, he's I want to say he's a living legend, and he is also, you know, a powerhouse in upholding the Garifuna culture. I believe that if every one of us Garifuna were like Bodoma, you know, with his passion, the Garifuna culture would definitely survive, because that's what Bodoma is all about. That's what he has been doing. He has been advocating for Garifuna culture, language, and everything, and wherever he goes. So on that note, I want to introduce everyone listening to this meeting here to Bodoma and his son Gumani. They will be playing. I'm hoping that I can have them play hugu hugu, you know, the same rhythm that Alex and Myles played before, so that you can hear the difference. Hopefully, the sound is gonna be very clear.
You can hear us?
Yes, definitely. We're gonna do like couple minutes of hugu hugu rhythm, bro.
All right.
All right.
Fantastic, fantastic. If Bodoma and Gumani, right now, all we see is a picture of you. If you could turn on your screen so we could see you.
Please. Yeah, all right.
We heard you beautifully clearly. It sounded beautifully clear.
Yeah, sorry. The laptop acting up right now.
Okay, yes, but mute, right? So, no,
So you just have to turn on your screen.
Yeah, I know. But the laptop, I'm sorry, the laptop just started acting up right now. Sorry.
All right. Well, at least we can see your picture with your picture. And
Yeah, Bobby, to talk a little about that pace just now, it was a little faster.
right.
If you notice, it was a little faster than how Alex from the Belize was playing, because sometimes it varies. Like I said, you know, what you heard there just now, it was the same. The similarity is this 6/8 beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but they move a little faster. And compared to how Alex were playing it and Miles, it was a little slower, but the 6/8 was still there.
Great. And I noticed also that what you were talking about, how the Primero talks, but almost twice as fast as the main pulse, you know, like.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What I also want to do correct here, to do a little correction, is normally in the temple, they don't use the Primera drums.
Okay.
They would use this for hugu hugu. That was in a social setting, in a social setting. But if it was in a temple, they were going to use only the segundo and maybe even a bigger drum, which we can consider as a third drum, which is called a heartbeat.
I've seen that big drum.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you get it in a car. If you can get it in a car.
Yeah, you see that huge drum. That is the heartbeat. That is the heartbeat. But you play that in the Dabuyaba, in the temple.
Right. So we Jorge, who is in master control, has asked Bodoma and Gumani to sign off and come back on, and that way we'll be able to see them on the screen. So if you can do that, gentlemen. And while you're doing that, we get a chance to talk to, from Guatemala, Juan Carlos Castillo and Chocola.
Chocola.
Okay.
Okay. Aquí estamos.
Okay, I'm not seeing
Y'all
them.
can see us?
No, I can't see you guys.
You have to turn on the screen.
Maybe the problem is no, the problem is not the computer.
Now somebody blocked us, that's why.
Blocked us.
But we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah. It's like somebody got us blocked from the camera.
That's Jorge.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Jorge. So yeah, somebody got it blocked.
So Jorge and Master Control, if
That's
you can
what
hear
happened.
us.
No, y'all cannot even see Bodoma because somebody got it blocked.
So Jorge is saying that it's not him that's doing it. So
I don't know. The laptop just turned out.
I got you.
Yeah, because I'm clicking the camera, it's not going through too.
All right, but at least we can hear you.
Yeah.
Juan Carlos,
Yeah.
we can hear you, and we can hear Chocola. Tell us a little bit about
whoever opened the page got us disabled.
Well, we can hear you. We can hear you. So don't worry. The main thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Bobby.
Yes.
You might have to speak to Chocola or Juan in Spanish.
Okay. Juan. ¿Me puede escuchar? ¿Me escucha? Sí, chévere. Juan, I'm going to ask Juan first, how many, when did he first come to New York City? ¿Cuándo llegaste a Nueva York?
Bueno, yo llegué a Nueva York City el 2012.
So he got here in 2012. And Chocola, you as well? Chocola, ¿en qué año llegaste aquí?
1989.
Wow, so he got here in 1989.
Yeah.
So cuando tú llegaste aquí, estabas sorprendido, los dos estaban sorprendidos que había una comunidad garífuna aquí en Nueva York, o ya sabían que había una comunidad, una colonia aquí de garífuna.
Bueno, en el caso mío,
ya estamos en cámara.
en el caso mío, yo vine aquí tocando.
Ahora sí,
Ajá.
sí, somebody. Ahora sí,
Ahora lo
ahora
vemos.
sí.
En el caso mío, yo vine tocando
So in his case, he says he came
e
here to
vine
play.
a este país.
Yeah.
Viniste con un grupo para hacer un concierto.
Sí, el grupo Ibimeni.
He came with the grupo Ibemi to do a concert here.
Yeah, Grupo Ibimeni is
Ibimeni.
sweet group or sweetness.
Oh,
in
okay.
English, sweetness. Yeah, but Bobby, what I want to say about Chocola is also a giant when it comes to the drums, the Garifuna drums coming from Guatemala.
Okay.
I remember in the early 90s with Garifuna soldiers, with the soldiers,
Yeah, and the Labuga Boys.
and Labuga Boys and Isanigo. You know, Chocola was rolling that drum. You know, he was half the size he was today, but Chocola was awesome and he was really carrying the drums along around that time. Okay,
Right.
and so for him to be on this show is an honor, and I was hoping that, you know, we could get him to play so that we can hear his skills. But because of technical difficulties, hopefully we might just have to talk and see what we can get out of this great Garifuna drummer.
Well, let's try. But first, before they do that, we have Garifuna from Honduras represented here today.
Yes.
From Belize and
Yes.
Guatemala. Now, would you say that each one of these regions, you might have the same rhythm played, but there are regional differences stylistically in
That's
each
right.
rhythm.
That is correct. You know, it's very distinct. So, you know, people like you, Bobby, you would probably hear the distinction instantly when you hear somebody playing from Honduras and somebody playing from Belize and somebody playing from Guatemala. Some people who are not musically inclined, they might hear the same thing.
Right.
But if you're really into music and to differentiate the different varieties, you can identify it instantly. Right. Sometimes you're not even hearing because you can know by how when they start singing, you can hear the Spanish accent, or you can hear the English accent coming from Belize, the Spanish accent coming from Guatemala and Honduras. But even before that, the mere playing of the drum, you can know if it's from Honduras. Well, I can know if it's from Honduras, Guatemala, or Belize.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Chocola, vamos a tratar, no sabemos si el audio es pero vamos a tratar, tócame algo primero en un tambor para ver si resuena por la pantalla. We're gonna try.
Yeah.
Desafortunadamente no sale el sonido.
Magambuti, bravo. Okay, unfortunately, we won't be able to hear him, Bobby.
Right.
But like I said, I can attest to, I've seen Chocola play, I've seen him in his element, and he's a great percussionist. He's a great drummer. And like I said, I'm sorry that the audience cannot hear him, but I know a lot of people, they probably tune in because they know that Chocola is going to be on the show.
Right. Now, even though we can't hear him, are there any videos of him on YouTube of him playing?
Oh yeah, I mean,
I got some of them too. I can send it to you.
Great, fantastic. Maybe you could in the chat put some of them up there so that the people can later on look at them. And
awesome.
And what we'll do is at the end of this, because once we finish, this always goes on a loop. All of the percussion discussions that we have done at the Bronx Music Heritage Center are all available on our Facebook page. So you'll be able to see this over again if you want to. But during that time period, James will be able to put some of these links up in the chat so that people can see the great artistry of both Juan Carlos and Chocola. Great. Again, ladies
Okay,
and gentlemen,
thank you.
great. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, make sure to put them in the chat. Le voy a preguntar a Chocola y a Juan Carlos. Las idiosincrasias que existen como tocan los ritmos en Honduras, Belize y Guatemala, ¿qué son las diferencias? Son James ha mencionado cómo se interpretan las canciones vocalmente, en el acento y eso, pero ¿qué son las idiosincrasias en términos de los ritmos? Ustedes los interpretan los ritmos más rápido, más lento, etc. What I'm asking them is, what are some of the idiosyncratic differences between the way the rhythms are played in Honduras, Belize, and Guatemala?
Tenemos un ritmo más como close para la gente de Belize. El ritmo de los chapines de Guatemala es más close para la gente de Belize.
So the rhythm, the way they play is closer to the way it's played in Belize. You know?
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I can attest to that. As much as Chocola is going to say that, it's because I know that the first time I saw him, he was playing in Belize. He played in Belize too.
Yeah.
So he does have that touch, but like I said, Bobby, the music as one can hear it, you know, if you pay keen attention, there is different varieties, because even when different players are playing the same, the rhythm, they have their own touch, they have their own style, you know, so it's even more obvious when you hear it coming from Belize, coming from Guatemala, and coming from Honduras.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you hear that difference primarily in the Primero, like the way they talk on the Primero?
In both of them. Okay. I can hear it in both of them, and you can even hear it more distinct when you hear the singing. Okay, so the drumming and the singing, and one can know, okay, that's from Honduras. When you hear it again, that's from Belize. And when you hear it again, that's from Guatemala.
Ahora le voy a hacer una pregunta.
Sabemos la diferencia.
Yeah. Ahora le voy a hacer la pregunta más importante. ¿Cuál es la región que toca mejor?
Uy.
Okay, you're asking
the most important question. Which plays the best?
You're asking which is the best. Who plays the best, right? Well, I can tell you, Bobby, it's one race. As much as we're from Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, you gotta also include Nicaragua.
Somos una raza.
We're one race. The variety makes it beautiful. So it's all or none.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, James Lovell, as you can see, he's going to be running for public office soon.
Not so.
Sabemos ya que James Jaime va a estar corriendo para ser político.
No, not so. Nunca de eso.
Let's get back, since we were able to hear a little bit clearly of Alex and Myles playing. Tell us about the second rhythm that you wanted to demonstrate tonight.
Yes,
so
the second
Alex play and Myles.
Yes, the second rhythm that we have, or the second genre, is called paranda. Now, paranda, Bobby, it was that influence that we adopted from the Spaniards, or the Spanish people, when we landed in Honduras. You see, like I was explaining earlier, when we landed in Honduras in that was April 12th, 1797. We landed in Roatan, Honduras, and then we find ourselves on the shores of Honduras. It's unfortunate that today, you fast forward to today, the government of Honduras you know, and other rich people from Canada, you know, they're trying to relocate. They're trying to take the Garinagu people off those islands that they had, that they were living on from 240 years ago. So, okay, so what happened when they landed in Honduras, our ancestors, they start looking and, you know, and adopting the guitar. That's also when the guitar was adopted into the Garifuna music discography. And also we played the drums, but we have our own style compared to how it was played in other parts of the Caribbean when it comes to Puerto Rico and other Spanish-speaking countries in the Caribbean. But our parranda is derived from the Spanish people in Honduras, and it's a 4/4 common time beat, 1 2 3 4. It just have a couple different break to it, and then Alex is going to demonstrate the first Primero, how it goes. Brother Alex, can you play just your part of the drum? Can you play it very slow? Cause tapa tapa tap, pam pap pap, tapa tapa pap, pam pap pap, tapa tapa pap. Wonderful. Now, Brother Myles, can you just hold the bass? Bum, dum, 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 dum. Yes. And then we're gonna combine those together. We're gonna put those together, and then they can play how they feel and the speed that they want to use. This is gonna be a little faster, and it goes like this. Let me hear you guys. Okay.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah,
the bass part sounds very similar to what we would play on our frame drums in Puerto Rico in what we call plena.
Plena.
What we use in our parranda, which is our Christmas processional music.
Yes.
And one thing I must say, through the efforts of Elena, we have been doing an annual parranda, Garifuna parranda with Puerto Rican parranda.
Yes.
The holiday season. The word is the same, but we spell it different in Puerto Rico. We spell it with 2 R's.
Yes.
And you spell it with 1 R, but it's still, like you said, one culture. You know, we're united by the drum, and it's been an annual event that has always been sold out, incredible. Just the communities coming together. And we want to thank you, James, from the bottom of our heart for helping to facilitate that, because, you know, one of the things that I always celebrate is the things that we have in common, not the differences that we have. We have more things in common than differences. And one of the things in common is obviously the drum.
Most definitely. I also want to add to that, Bobby, is the fact that, you know, it's one drum, you know, even though it's in different shape, different size, different pitch, you know, but it came, and you know, of anybody, you know that it's derived from Africa, and right. You know that it's just, to me, as far as I'm concerned, and I know you can attest to this, it's just the accent of the different cultures, how they accentuate on playing the drums to give that distinct sound. Because once you play that one sound on a drum, everybody in the world, they're playing that one sound, that one beat. But then it's just the way they accentuate it. It's just the way the tempo, the speed, the stops, the dynamics that makes it different.
Right.
Okay. So what you're listening here, it's that union. It's the drums, music. As a matter of fact, it transcends barriers. It
Right.
even goes beyond words. You know, sometimes you're blocked by words, but music keep you flowing. You know, you can understand the drums, you can understand percussion music, you know, without even understanding the language.
Right. Most
know?
definitely. Most definitely. Most definitely. I want to go back to Bodoma and his son Gumani.
Gumani.
Not yet. Not yet. Okay. We still have some technical difficulties. Hopefully, we can conquer them a little bit later on,
Yeah.
because I definitely want to hear. We definitely want to hear from Bodoma and Gumani. But remember that that if you have any questions, those of you who are viewing right now, please put them in the chat right now, and James will be glad, or any of the participants will be glad to answer them for
Yeah.
you. We have a question right here
Yeah, well,
from Robert Esper or Espier. Why are the drums called Primero and Segunda?
good question. You see, ever since I know myself and growing up in Dangriga and coming here to the States, that's how we've been calling it. Primero. Actually, in Garifuna, it's Primero. It's not like how you say Primero. We add the U. You take the O and we put the U. Primero. And in Garifuna, that's how actually we pronounce it. But it's easier to say Primero because it's still first. Primero in Garifuna is first. So that's how we use it. The first drum and the second drum. That's how we call it. So the segundo, you take off the O and you put the U at the end. Segundo. So, but then it's okay to say segundo also. So basically, that's the reason why it's been called like that. Or you could say the first drum and the second drum, the lead drum or the bass drum. That's how we call it. But they're both Garifuna drums. Garaun. In Garifuna, we say Garaun.
Okay, we just got a message from Bodoma. His computer's not working, but he will be back with us. But he's back with us now by phone, so we can talk to him.
Okay, so could Bodoma, if he hears, if he's listening, can he do exactly what he did earlier so that they can hear a paranda beat with just the drums? That would be fine too.
Just the primera.
No, well, if you can do both. Adiga, ahora baba musu paranda bra.
Ay. Paranda. Paranda.
That's great, because now we can see the tuning system that you
Yeah,
use.
but I don't think it's going. What I was asking Bobby, if he can play like whatever he did earlier when he was playing the hugu, if he can do the same thing so that we can actually hear it, because right there I don't know if we can hear it.
Yeah. Can you hear?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Paranda.
Oh, it's unfortunate now we can't hear it.
Yeah, now we can't hear it.
No se escucha.
Yeah, you see, he's playing, but we can't hear it.
Maybe if just one drum plays,
Yeah,
we might be able to hear it.
yeah, they're not. Magambo wa mutibu, bravo.
We are on mute.
Gumani,
Yeah.
we're not hearing you. So can you do like what you did earlier with a paranda beat?
All right.
Yeah,
Just
just
on one
do that.
drum. Maybe we could hear one drum.
Okay, try one drum.
All right.
No, it's not going, Bobby.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So let them
unfortunate.
let them do like what they did earlier to hear a paranda sound, the sound of the paranda, you know?
Yeah, it's not gonna work according to what Jorge told me
Yeah.
and he was telling me. So, but
Okay.
that's all right. We can still talk to Bodoma and Gumani.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit. I would like to know about the tuning system that you use, the la torniqueta.
Okay.
that you use.
Okay. Talk to Bodoma. Let Bodoma explain this.
Bodoma, can you tell us a little bit about the tuning system that you use with
Yeah.
the pegs? You know.
Yeah. We use the penis. We call it penis in Garifuna. Penny. Penny. All right. Each of those stick you see over here is when you tie it, it's a different sound of the drum.
Right.
Yeah.
Different sound. Yeah, you press the skin.
Skin. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And sometimes we need to hit the. Sometimes we need to hit
The side. The
this
side.
side a little bit just to tune it. Yeah, and then can you hear us?
Yeah.
No.
A little bit, just a little bit. If you play softer, we might be able to hear it. Now I noticed too that you have. It looks like there's two strings on top of the primera.
Yes. Those two strings you see over here is to give the Garifuna sound to the drum, to the frumiati, to the primero, to the frumiati drum. Because we don't use the primero skin plain like
Right.
the bomba drum,
Right.
like the barrel.
Right.
Yeah, we always it's different to hold it and give a different sound to the skin. That's
Now,
right.
eso siempre ha sido parte de la tradición. Has that always been part of the
Siempre ha
tradition?
sido parte de la tradición.
Wow, always
Okay.
been part of the tradition.
All right, Bobby.
Mhm.
What Bodoma is explaining, the pin, like he's talking about,
Right.
he said pin because it's pin.
Right.
Okay, but it's also the tuning pegs. What it does, you turn it, and when you turn it on the rope that it's on, it tightens it, and when that tightens, then the skin on the drum it also tightens.
Right.
Okay, so you're gonna have to. What drummers do, they would hit the edge of the drum with a stick to press it down, to bring it down, to tighten the skin, the animal skin on the drum.
Right.
And what that does, it gives them, they are looking for the acquired sound that they're looking for. It's each drummer have their sound. They look for their sound, so to speak. And the strings are that stuff that goes across the skin of the drum. They can be thin metal wires. Okay, thin metal wires, because for the primero, you will hear that snare sound.
Right.
It's because of those two metal strings that goes across the skin of the drum, and then you tighten it, and when you get that sound that you're looking for, like each drummer have their own sound, and then you hear that snare sound. It also goes for the segundo. You also have to tighten and do the same thing, but this time it's not no metal string that you put on it. It can be a thick, like a very thin out of cloth, ropes or strings again, but out of cloth.
So they would never use wire on the segunda.
No. We don't use wire on the segundo. The segunda is more like a very thin, made out of cloth like material that stretches.
For
and
example, right here.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Like a rope.
Yeah, right here.
Like a rope, you see, but it's very thin. And then if you look at the primero, it's more metal. That's why you hear that snare sound.
So would you use fishing wire or piano wire?
You can also use fishing wire for the primero if you want to, but you can use a thick one for that. The thick fishing wire for the segundo.
I got you. Fantastic.
Yeah. It varies with different drummers. Like, you know, different drummers put whatever they want. They're looking for that sound that they're accustomed to.
Now, we have a question from Dr. Jose Cruz. Do you use all the tones? Open, slap, muffled, bass tone? And
Good.
I also noticed that, like in Haitian drumming, you use the fingers sometimes.
Yes.
Fingers.
Good question. That is a very good question that was asked, because I know that with our drum, we usually have two sounds. We usually have two sounds in our drums. Actually, the Primero, that's the reason why we tune the Primero in a way where it's higher than the Segundo. Okay? The reason why that person asked that question, because with the djembe drum and other drums, if you play the way how you play, if you play in the middle of the drum, then you get the bass. And if you play on the very edge, you get the tone. And then if you also can get a slap, okay? You can also get a flam or a slap sound out of the drum. Well, we can do that. A prolific Garifuna drummer can get those sounds, you know, because when you press on the drum and you hit it on the edge, you can get that snapping sound or slapping sound. But in actuality, that's the reason why we have the Segunda drum, which is bigger because it gives you the bass sound. And then the Primero drum, which is smaller, it gives you that high pitch sound with the rattle or the metallic sound because of the metal rope.
One thing I wanted to ask you, what type of wood do you use? Maybe Juan Carlos and Chocola can address that.
Okay.
¿Qué clase de madera ustedes usan para construir los tambores, Juan Carlos y Chocola?
Cali madera,
San Juan.
Una madera que le decimos San Juan.
Is it James, is it similar to oak or is it similar to white ash?
Well,
it seems to me like it's a light wood, you know.
To answer that question, Bobby, you know, it depends on the country, because in Belize, I want to think that we can use mahogany, the mahogany wood. We can also use cedar wood, okay? And those are the kind of wood that we have. They probably more, but I'll find that out later. Maybe Bodoma can also tell you what the drums, the wood they made it out of in Honduras, but it varies from different countries. It varies from different countries.
Yeah, in Honduras, we use caoa, we use cedro, we use
Caoa, gobana in Garifuna.
Gobana.
Yeah.
Caoa.
Gobana, little Garifuna.
Yeah, that's mahogany. That's mahogany. We use mahogany too, yeah.
Also, the people who make the drums, who build the drums, they said the avocado tree is the best for the drum. That's what they said.
The aguacate.
Aguacate, sí. Aguacate.
Wagadi.
Yeah.
Okay, it's pear tree or avocado.
Right, what we would say in Spanish, aguacate, you know. So
okay.
Aguacate.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. I mean, which, ¿qué madera ustedes prefieren o no le importa?
Pienso que las maderas más duras, como el cedro, como la caoa, aguacate, pero no me gusta la madera, liviana ni la madera suave. No.
Okay. So what Bodoma is saying that he likes the dense wood, the hardwood, like the hardwood that were mentioned before, like cedar, aguacate, from the avocado tree as well, etc. You know.
Okay. And
I have another question here, again from Robert Espier. So he wanted to confirm the terms primero and segunda or segundo, they're not gendered terms. We're getting into an area of Spanish.
No. It's okay. What's his name?
Robert Espier.
Okay, Robert I just want to let Robert know that it's definitely not gender term, because as a matter of fact, with us in our Garifuna culture, you know, we associate, you know, he might have a little truth in what he's saying, because we're always complimenting each other, male and female, okay? Because in our culture, the woman, you know, the woman is the rock, okay? So if the woman is the rock, then we can place that as the female drummer, the female drum, which can be the segundo, because that is holding the pace, that is holding the rhythm, that is holding the culture, it's holding the music. And the woman does that in our Garifuna culture. And whereas the primero, it is more prolific, it is easy, it's going here, there, and everywhere. That's what the men do. They go fishing, they go farming, they go hunting. So we can associate that as the male. So the small drum is the male, and the big drum is the female, because she is the rock of the culture.
Or we would say, like in Cuban drumming systems, Puerto Rican drumming system, macho, hembra. Like, for example, on the timbales, the small drum is the macho,
Okay.
the hembra is the big drum. On the bongo, the small one is we call it the macho, the hembra is the big drum. So
yeah,
you know, which goes back to African tradition as well. So fantastic. Now, there's a third rhythm that you wanted to demonstrate for us, James, and
yes.
maybe Alex can do that, which is known as punta. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, well, punta, I think it's appropriate to end punta with as the last Garifuna genre, because it is more on a festive, it's more on a festive platform. You know, like during Independence Day in Belize, November 19th in Belize, when the Garifuna celebrate their arrival to Central America, and when they celebrated in Honduras, April 12th, you know, that's when we play the punta. That's the rhythm that we play. That's where, you know, people get up on the streets and like carnival, you know, dancing. It's very prolific. It's very energetic. You know, somebody like you, Bobby, I don't know if you'll be able to dance punta, because, you know, we're getting there. But definitely
we need a little. I think the drums would excite us enough that we can.
Okay, that's true.
Enough
That's
adrenaline
right.
to go. You know, to hang. You know?
You're right. You're so right about that. It's very infectious. You know, it's gonna make you move even if you don't want to. So that's what you're gonna be hearing from Alex, and also from all the drummers. It's so unfortunate that we can't really hear them, but maybe we might have to do this again. But definitely, you know, it's festive, it's happy, it's about just getting on and doing what you do on stage.
And I must remind everyone that we're missing the elements of the what is it, the maruga? I think the maraca.
The maraca, sisira.
Yeah, we're missing that element. Also, and I've seen it perform with the turtle shell, the tortoise shell,
turtle shell,
well,
yeah,
which is really hip. So
yeah.
we're missing those elements, and of course, the conch shell blowing, which is
Yeah.
also very, very spiritual when you hear it done in
Yes.
the context of the rhythm. So maybe when we do part 2, we could have all of those instruments together. You know?
Okay, so Brother Al and Brother Miles, let me hear you guys go off with some punta, bro.
Fantastic. Bravo. Bravo, Alex.
Yes. Again,
Belize está en talla esta noche.
again, Bob, that's another 4/4, the common time. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's faster. it's faster, you know, it's lively, you know, so that's coming from, that's Belize version. So again, I want to tell my audience, I'm really, it's unfortunate that we can't hear Chocola and Juan Carlos, but let's see if we can get Bodoma, if he can.
Yes.
Okay, give us
We
a
have a
sound.
question. We have a question from Elena. She wanted to know if Bodoma had maybe a console that he could show us.
Oh,
and maybe possibly demonstrate it. You know?
okay.
Sí, Bodoma, Elena quería saber si tú tienes una concha ahí para enseñar al público.
Okay. La nueva.
Wow,
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, eso se puede escuchar. Muy bien, muy bien. Gracias.
Sí, la
Gracias.
historia de esto, los garinagu usamos el caracol, la concha de caracol, que lo llamamos en Garifuna Wadabuagi. Wadabuagi es como una sirena. Es como una sirena para hacer un llamado en emergencia, y depende del sonido, es cuando si hay pescado es un diferente sonido. Si se está quemando una casa, o es diferente sonido. Si hay alguien extraño en la comunidad, es otro diferente sonido. Eso se usaba mucho antes. Pero hubo un señor en Guiriga, Honduras, llamado Pablo Bus. Le decían Pablo Bus. Bus le decían porque él tenía una bubucela. Y entonces él la introdujo cuando tocábamos los tambores. Y cualquier ritmo, él introdujo la bubucela. Y después otro señor llamado Johnny Bagala, por los años a finales de los 70, introdujo la concha del caracol.
Fantastic. What Bodoma is saying is
Yeah.
that in ancient times, the concha was used for different signals, for warnings, whatever. If there was a fire or something, there were different signals at times.
Yes.
James, you could continue, and you can mention those two gentlemen that he mentioned, if you could continue translating.
No, I cannot. I couldn't do it in. He was speaking in Spanish.
Yeah,
Right.
Pablo
Oh.
Bus. Pablo Bus. Le llama Afro bubucela.
Bubusela, to hosterbo, yeah, South Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. The horn, the plastic horn, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plastic. Yeah, that was the first one. And then there is a very old person. He passed already. He called Johnny Bagala.
Johnny Bagala.
Johnny Bagala is the one who introduced the concert, the caracol.
Okay.
Johnny Bagala.
Wait, ¿qué año fue eso? In what year was that? Do you know?
Yeah, the very end of the 70s.
Oh, okay. So it's
Because before that, the caracol no era usado. They don't use for music.
right.
Just for the alarm.
Yeah, yeah, it's to summon people. So we do it, but not to put it in music. Basically, that's what Bodoma is saying. But it's been used for other things, like to summon people. If there's a gathering, if there's like people coming, especially fishermen coming from the ocean with fish, then they would blow it so people could know that they can go and buy fish.
So this gentleman in the 1970s, Johnny Bagala, he was the
Johnny
first
Bagala.
Yeah,
he was the first one to adapt it to Garifuna River.
He adapted to the music.
in Giriga.
In Giriga, yeah.
In Giriga, you see?
So Giriga is a place.
Yeah, Giriga
Yeah,
is.
there is a place.
That's where we're from.
Yeah, that's where we're from. That's why Belize and Guatemala and La Buga, they adopted caracol just about few years ago. Right, James?
Yeah. Well, it's we had it. Ani halibugati awama, pero mosero wa mutu lu música.
Yeah. La Buga, soon lia lichkuni Johnny Bagal. Soon, la Buga, that what when mama gets to Honduras. Then I used to play the caracol in whole Honduras, just in the middle for Honduras, like the east coast, the east north coast of Honduras. Now they play in the whole Garifuna place now. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now I have a question here. Are any rhythms associated with certain holidays like Wanagara?
Wanaragua. Okay, Wanaragua, we have Wanaragua. There's several other rhythms, Bobby, but you know, we're limited for time. So we're probably gonna do another segment, like you said. But Wanaragua, there's different definitions for Wanaragua, because you know, in Belize, we use Wanaragua to celebrate in Christmas, during Christmas time. It's a warrior dance that, you know, where the male put a mask on. He put a mask on his face, and in Honduras they call it, I believe, mascara, you know. But with us, it's basically a mask, and it's painted pink, you know, and it's well decorated. And then the dancer has a crown on his head, you know, with feathers, and he also has shells, you know, a bunch of shells on his knees, tied to his knees. And then he would get on that stage, he would get on the floor, and he would dance, as, you know, showcasing his skills, and where he's gonna be controlling the drummer, the Primero drummer. Whenever he plays and stop dancing and do whatever he does, the Primero drummer will have to look at him and follow him with the drums. So we do that in Belize during Christmas. You know, they go house to house to entertain people. We also have a rhythm for that. But like I said, we can do that another time when we have a better connection.
That's fantastic, because that'd be for part 2, you know?
Yeah.
Most definitely. Now, somebody just wrote, Isaac Lewis just wrote, there's a difference between punta and culio. He said punta to him is elegant. Do you want to comment on that? Or maybe I wrote the wrong, maybe he wrote it wrong.
You know, what I have to say about that, Bobby, is there's, like I said, we established that there's different varieties, right? Mm-hmm. So in different countries, you know, they will give it a different name. Okay. But when you look at the rhythm, if you look at the rhythm of the music, of the beat or the genre, it's basically, we would say punta. That's the general title for that genre. The name of that genre is punta. But people will say in Banguada, and some people will say Banguada, some people will say Culio, some people will say other name. But when you look at it, it's that same rhythm or that same genre. That's as much as I can explain, because I can tell you, Bobby, we can go from now until all night talking about what we're doing here, but we're just touching the iceberg. We just want to touch the iceberg, you know?
And for that, we need some rum, you know. Necesitamos rum para esa conversación. Now, I wanted to ask you, the last question that I have before we close off this fantastic segment on the culture, the drumming culture of the Garifuna, is have these rhythms and crept into popular music in Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, and for example, what is known as reggaeton, or what people call today tumpa tumpa, you know, like have these rhythms, any of these styles crept into the popular music, the pop music that is being listened to in Honduras, Belize, and Guatemala?
Good question, Bobby, because that's a segue. You're looking at a segue, because what happened is that in days gone by, years gone by, the technology at that time, you know, there were very limited technology or instruments used. So in the beginning, we have the traditional. What we're doing here is traditional, okay? The punta is traditional. The paranda is traditional. The hugu hugu is traditional. Wanaragua, also traditional. Charicanare, Koropatia, and Piamanadi, it's the same, which is another dance where the men dress in women clothes and the drums accompany to that. So we can talk about that another time. But to go to what you just explained, right now we're doing traditional. I want to say that we also have a contemporary era. Okay, a contemporary era is where we get modern technology now, where the synthesizers, the trumpet, the guitar, the bass guitar, the violin, all that start finding their way into the Garifuna discography and the Garifuna music. So that is where we are right now, because prior to that, there's one time when Pen Cayetano and the Turtle Shell Band, they were the one who brought and exposed Punta Rock. Okay, that's another offshoot of Punta. Punta Rock, it's unfortunate. We can talk about that in detail, where Pen uses the guitar, he uses the snare drum, he uses the turtle shell, and he stepped up the pace, and he played faster. Compared to a regular punta beat, Punta Rock is faster. And they use modern technology, okay? They use modern technology when it comes to synthesizers, the horn sections, the drum machine, and all that makes it, makes it different from the traditional.
Right.
So those are the offshoots that I can talk about.
Right. So if I, for example, if I went to YouTube right now and I put the term in Punta Rock, some stuff would come up.
Of course,
yes, definitely.
Of course, it's gonna blow up. The computer is gonna probably explode.
Fantastic.
Well,
on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Elena Martinez. But before we go, I want to thank Bodoma and Bodoma and his son Gumani, the fantastic Bodoma and his son, Master Bodoma and his son Gumani from Honduras. I want to thank Master Alex Colon and Myles Petillo from Belize, and I want to thank Maestro Chocola and Maestro Juan Carlos Castillo from Guatemala, and you, Maestro James Lovell, for enlightening us tonight of this great, incredible drumming culture and music that exists here, particularly in the Bronx, the home of music, the home of rhythm, the home of the drum. I'm going to turn it over right now to Elena Martinez. If you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, you can still put them in the chat. James, later on this evening, will put some links up in the chat for you to check out some of the great, some examples of these great drumming traditions and dance traditions, links that you could check out on YouTube. And right away, if you want to start right now, you could just type in Punta Rock, and as James said,
Punta Rock,
it will start exploding with options for you. So my name is Bobby Sanabria. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to Percussion Discussion. And I'm going to turn it over to Elena Martinez, and I want to thank Jorge Vasquez in Command Central. So, Elena, take it away.
Well, I just want to thank everyone. Thank you for the audience for being so patient tonight. Sorry for all the technical troubles. But soon enough, the Bronx Music Heritage Center, we have our outdoor amphitheater at our new space. We'll be doing live programming soon, all through the nice weather. So we'll repeat this. You'll get to see the drummers perform live together. We'll do that so you can really hear all the different drumming. But Bodoma and Gumani and their family, they've performed for us this past summer. You can check out the video on our Facebook page for our Bronx Music at Home concerts. Alex and James have been part of our Paranda con Paranda. You can see it on the Bronx Music Heritage Center Vimeo page or on some of the videos on the Facebook page. So you can still get a chance to check them out and hear some of their music. And again, once again, just to really, they were so great tonight, and they struggled through. We had a lot of technical difficulties in terms of getting drums mic'd up, which is always a hard thing on Zoom, but also just technical difficulties in general with different sorts of devices. But to representing Honduras, we want to really big shout out to Bodoma and Gumani. From Belize, Alex and Miles, and representing Guatemala, Juan Carlos and Chocola. And of course, a big thank you to James Lovell for curating and getting all the drummers together for tonight. And as Bobby said, thank you to Jorge for really making it through a tough evening of technology. But it was so great to hear you guys talk about a lot of these things. And we will definitely do more. We're always doing a lot of Garifuna programming. So there's more coming up before the end of Garifuna Heritage Month. So we hope you can come back and check out all the different things that are going on. So, and everyone, thank you and have a great night.
Okay.
And James, you
Yes,
forgot
sir.
to tell us where you're from.
I'm from Belize, bro. I'm from
Fantastic.
Belize.
Okay. But now you got to say the Bronx too. All right, everybody. Buenas noches.
I'm from Belize, originally from Belize.
Buenas noches.
Residing in Gainesville, Virginia.
Buenas noches.
Good night.
Buenas noches. Ayo.
Buenas noches.
Ayo,
Viti
man.
Cuyo.
Muy bien,
Muchas gracias.